Admiral Thexvar of the Coalition Fleet stared at the tactical display with 6 of his compound eyes, while the other 4 monitored the bridge communications. The Centauri sector war had raged for 18 standard years, consuming entire star systems in its wake. The crystalline Vorthak Empire and the cybernetic Nexus Collective had locked themselves in a brutal stalemate that had already claimed 40 billion lives across both sides. "Sir," Communications Officer Ziltan buzzed through his mandible translator, "the human delegation has arrived." Thexvar's antennae twitched with barely concealed irritation. Humans, the newest species to achieve interstellar travel, barely 2 centuries spacefaring. What could these primitive mammals possibly contribute to a conflict that had stymied 2 of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations? "Send them to Conference Bay 7, Thexvar replied, his voice carrying the weight of exhaustion. "Let us see what these humans believe they can accomplish." 20 minutes later, Thexvar found himself facing a delegation that defied every xenobiological expectation. The humans were smaller than anticipated, their soft flesh barely contained within environmental suits. Leading them was a female-designated Admiral Sarah Okafor, whose dark eyes held an intensity that made Thexvar's compound vision blur slightly. "Admiral," she began without preamble, "show us the tactical situation." Thexvar activated the holographic display with a gesture of his primary manipulator. The 3-dimensional battlefield materialized between them, hundreds of ships locked in perpetual combat across 17 star systems. Red markers indicated Vorthak crystal dreadnoughts, their geometric hulls bristling with quantum dissolution arrays. Blue markers showed Nexus Collective cube ships, their surfaces alive with adaptive nano-armor and probability cascade weapons. "For 18 years, we have fought," Thexvar explained, his voice carrying the weight of countless failed strategies. "The Vorthak's crystal technology makes them nearly invulnerable to energy weapons, while their quantum arrays can disintegrate our hull plating at the molecular level. The Nexus Collective's adaptive systems counter every tactical approach within nanoseconds, learning and evolving faster than we can develop new strategies." Admiral Okafor studied the display with an expression Thexvar couldn't interpret. Her aide, a scarred human male designated Colonel Marcus Chen, leaned forward. "What's the current engagement pattern?" Chen asked. "Standard formation warfare," replied Thexvar. "Heavy bombardment from maximum range, followed by coordinated assault waves. Both sides employ predictive algorithms to optimize firing solutions and minimize casualties." The humans exchanged glances that seemed to communicate volumes. Admiral Okafor smiled an expression that showed her white teeth in what Thexvar's cultural database indicated was supposed to be reassuring but somehow wasn't. "Admiral Thexvar," she said, "in human history, we had a saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results." "I do not understand the relevance." "You're fighting a logical war against logical enemies," interrupted Colonel Chen. "Every move calculated, every strategy optimized, every outcome predicted within acceptable parameters." Admiral Okafor manipulated the holographic controls with movements that seemed almost casual. "Show us the Vorthak fleet composition in the Kepler Nexus." The display zoomed to reveal a massive formation of crystalline vessels arranged in perfect geometric harmony. Each ship positioned at precisely calculated intervals, their formation a work of mathematical art. "Beautiful," Chen observed. "Absolutely perfect tactical positioning. Overlapping fields of fire, mutual support networks, redundant defensive matrices." "Indeed," Thexvar replied, confused by the human's tone. "The Vorthak are masters of geometric warfare. Their formations are flawless." "That's the problem," Admiral Okafor said quietly. "They're too perfect." She turned to Thexvar with that unsettling smile. Admiral, humans learned to wage war on a planet where nothing was predictable. Our weather changes without warning. Our terrain shifts and evolves. Our ecosystems are chaotic interconnected webs, where one small change can cascade into system-wide collapse. The tactical display flickered as Admiral Okafor uploaded data from her personal computing matrix. We've spent the last 3 hours analyzing your 18 years of combat data. The Vorthok respond to threats with mathematical precision. The Nexus Collective adapts to patterns within predictable parameters. But what happens, Colonel Chen added, when you don't follow any pattern at all? Before Thexvar could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the Coalition flagship. His communications officer's mandibles clattered in panic. Sir, human vessels have just entered combat zones across all 17 systems simultaneously. Thexvar rushed to the primary tactical display, his 6 compound eyes trying to process what they were seeing. Human ships, tiny vessels, barely a tenth the size of Coalition dreadnoughts, were diving directly into the heart of both enemy formations. Are they committing suicide? He gasped. Watch, Admiral Okafor said simply. The human vessels moved like nothing Thexvar had ever seen. No formations, no coordination, no predictable patterns. One ship barrel rolled through a Vorthok crystal array, while simultaneously spinning and firing in apparently random directions. Another vessel played dead for exactly 37 seconds, before suddenly accelerating at impossible angles directly into a Nexus Cube ship's blind spot. It's chaos, Thexvar whispered. It's jazz, Colonel Chen corrected. Controlled improvisation. Every human pilot is making it up as they go along, responding to opportunities that exist for maybe 2 seconds at a time. On the display, the impossible was happening. Vorthok vessels, programmed for mathematical perfection, couldn't predict movements that didn't follow any logical pattern. Their quantum arrays fired at where the human ships should be, not where they actually were. The Nexus Collective's adaptive algorithms went into cascade failure, trying to adapt to patterns that didn't exist, creating feedback loops that turned their own weapons against themselves. Human vessel, reckless abandon, has just taken out a Vorthok dreadnought by ramming it with a cargo container full of kitchen appliances, reported the communications officer in bewilderment. The probable cause has convinced the Nexus Cube ship that it's a piece of space debris by playing dead and broadcasting smooth jazz, added another technician. Within 3 hours and 17 minutes, the war was over. Both the Vorthok Empire and Nexus Collective had simultaneously requested immediate ceasefire negotiations, their fleets in complete disarray. Centuries of tactical doctrine had been rendered obsolete by creatures who fought like they were making it up as they went along. Because they were. Admiral Thexvar turned to the human delegation with something approaching reverence. How? Admiral Okafor smiled that terrifying human smile. Admiral, every species in the galaxy evolved predictable survival strategies. Fight or flight, formation tactics, logical responses to logical threats. Humans evolved on a planet trying to kill us in new and creative ways every single day, Colonel Chen added. We learned that sometimes the only way to survive is to do something so completely unexpected that even you don't know what you're going to do next. As the surrender transmissions poured in from both enemy fleets, Thexvar realized that the galaxy had just learned a fundamental truth about warfare. Sometimes the best strategy is having no strategy at all. The humans had ended an 18-year war in under 4 hours, simply by being themselves unpredictable, chaotic, and utterly impossible to anticipate. It was, Thexvar reflected, the most terrifying thing he had ever witnessed.